Hello and welcome back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about, oh I'm so excited, Smith and Jones, written by Russell T Davies and directed by Charles Plummer. This is the start of Series 3. Why am I so excited about that? Well, Series 3 is by far my favourite series of the revived era. It has one of the best companions of the entire show history. It has David Tennant as probably his best. And one thing, you know, TV and movies and all, it's all about the immersity of it. And one thing I absolutely love about this entire series, Murray Gold, just music, his just soundtrack just really is elevated here with two sound. I'm not really talking about the stuff I absolutely love. I'm just so excited to talk about this story. But anyway, there's two tracks in this series that just really stick out to me, at least throughout the rest of the series. There's also another one, but that's only in one story. But anyway, we have the Doctor now has a new leitmotif, a new theme song for him. This is titled All the Strange, Strange Creatures, in which is the music in which the Doctor's running around battling monsters and stuff. And it is like epic personified. It's just so goddamn, it really gets your heart pumping. It's something which I actually listen to when I jog or, you know, do like activities in the day. So, you know, it's just really it's so good. And another one that sticks out is Martha's theme. Martha also has a new theme with that kind of like slow samba which I don't know why, but it just fits. It just really works for this series. So now I've just talked about, now I've just had a little bit of rant about that. I've got something else to show you as well. Let's get into a bit of the details. Again, like I've stated before, this is the start of Series 3. In my opinion, there is no bad episode in Series 3, so there's a bit of a spoiler there. Whether on level of good to one of the best things I've ever seen, that's the level that we're working with here. Anyway, this series introduces us to new companion Martha Jones, played by Freema Agnew. And she is the first person of colour as a companion in television. She's not the first person of colour overall. There was a person of colour in a Fourth Doctor comic book series. She is technically the first companion who isn't white. So, but Freema is the first companion who is on televised screen. So that was kind of a big deal back then because, you know, this is a British show and British people are known to be a little bit on the racist side. So it was kind of a big deal, but the stories themselves, though have a very light mention of it sometimes, never really focus on it. Which is for this storytelling works enormously well because we as an audience are not thinking, right, how is she going to fit and all that? We just go, right, she is the companion. But we'll get onto it more in the story. This story also, technically, I think technically it does, introduce us to the big rhino police of the series, the Jadoon. Now I say technically because we, with this Doctor Who vlog marathon series, we've actually heard the Jadoon before in the Sixth Doctor audio drama, Jadoons in Chains, which was released for the classic Doctor's New Monsters box set. So, to me, anyway, in this massive marathon, this is actually the return of the Jadoon. How cool is that? I love it when there's a retroactive introduction like that in here. The Doctor doesn't actually, seems to know what the Jadoon are, so it doesn't contradict anything. Yeah, so I've already just ranted about how great this series is, and it's just hard to describe just how much I love each story, every story in this series. I know I'm going on a complete tangent. Before I show you the covers though, I just want to show you this. I have the Series 3 soundtrack. I love the music so much. That is just stunning. And you've got David Tennant there. Oh, another thing as well, this story also introduces a new costume for the 10th Doctor. His suit is now blue with a red tie with red convict shoes. And I don't know why, but I think it works 1000% better. I also think that there's an update in cinematography in this series. It's a lot more quicker paced, quicker editing. Feels a lot more like a movie than the previous two series, and it continues the swashbuckling era that I mentioned back in my Runaway Bride vlog. So there you go. So anyway, this is the official BBC cover, which is the vanilla release, but as you probably guessed, I've printed out my own cover up here. So shall we put these together? I think we shall. 1, 2, 3. There you go. So that's the cover. This is by Christopher Doctor Who DVD covers, who does some fantastic jobs, and I highly recommend him if you're looking for some replacement covers. The image is actually from the Series 3 trailer. If you haven't seen those, I highly recommend them. With the Jadoon and the Plasmavore in the background there. Very nice. Here's the spine, if anyone is interested. And here's the back, which, because this is the vanilla release, it also includes the Shakespeare Code and Gridlock. Ooh, very exciting. There you go. So, we've talked about everything that we need to talk about prior to the story. So, let's get into the adventure at hand. So, the story begins with a scene on Earth with Martha Jones just walking around the street. She's getting a bunch of calls as we get introduced to her family and a little bit of detail of each other. We hear that her mother and her father don't get along because of her father's new boyfriend, and there seems to be a party for Leo, and she's got to go to not really work, but she's training to be a doctor. She's inspired to become a medic in some capacity. And right off the editing in this, the quick pacing between her and the phone calls and her being introduced to all of these characters in such quick succession makes you really see that Martha is just your average day woman. You know, she's trying to get a job, she's got her own life, she's having struggle, family domestics like kind of what Rose did, but there's a lot more of gathering here, and you do get the impression that she is kind of like the outsider in her own family, but she still, she still mingles with them, as she's trying to talk to everybody. Everybody's trying to get Martha to sort everyone out on this party thing. Very great start, as the Doctor literally just walks up to her, takes off his tie, and goes, "See?" and then walks off. And then Martha then goes to the hospital, which is actually filmed at Singleton Hospital in Swansea, so which is near where I live. So that was just a really cool thing to see, but it's supposed to be in London, a hospital in London. as she gets introduced to her and a group of people are basically going around the wards, diagnosing people, showing that like they can be good doctors. The basically the owner of the hospital is played by what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he played a very similar character in the 8th Doctor audio drama Human Resources. So that is some sort of connection, and I believe they came out in the same year, which is really strange. I did mention that in my Human Resources vlog. If anyone's interested, please check that out. But anyway, and Martha and all of these things, they go around and they see this old woman who is struggling, and they're all trying to diagnose her. They all get it wrong. It turns out that she is suffering from sugar depletion, and she hasn't had any sugar, she's just been eating salad. But then they go to another patient, the doctor, who's been there all day, and Martha is like, well, that wasn't clever, was it? Going out, walking around like that. The doctor's like, wasn't me, I've been here all day. Martha's like, do you have a twin brother or something? It's like, no, not anymore, just me. Now, that is just brilliant in terms of the story, because right off the bat we have this mystery surrounding the Doctor, and like Rose and like Gwen Cooper, we see this story through the eyes of our regular everyday person. In this case it's Martha Jones, and there's this mystery that's like, huh? And Martha is, it's kind of like nugging her at the back of her head, but it doesn't really that concern her that much. She's much more interested in getting the job done, and she is kind of disturbed when she hears the Doctor has 2 heartbeats, one for each side of his chest. But as a Doctor Who fan, this is also a very important scene. The Doctor mentions that he at least once had a brother. This is a reference to Ivan Belvatrax, a character from the Bernice Summerfield audio dramas and novels, who is, according to the novels anyway, the biological brother of the Doctor. But you didn't know that, the Doctor had a brother. So, yeah, that's just a nice little nugget, but it's nothing, like, it's just a small little detail. You don't really need that. But anyway, as Martha's on the phone, we also get like there's so much little moments like that really like elevates this story from what could have been an average adventure. I mean, the plot itself is kind of I wouldn't say like repetitive, but there's nothing really to stand out in terms of the story itself. Like the villain herself isn't that big of a presence in this adventure, but there's all of these great small little build-up moments, and the music, the cinematography, the acting, the writing just elevates it. As we get a scene in which like they're on the phone and Martha's like talking to her sister, and her sister's like, when you're finished we could all come out and have a nice coffee outside, and Martha's like, what, you're joking, in this weather? As she looks out the window and it's absolutely raining, it's pouring down. But her sister, who's only a few miles away, she's in like a nice sunny area, and she looks up at the hospital as she goes around the corner, and she sees just like a massive cloud, like a cartoon, just one giant cloud raining in front, on top of the hospital. As Martha's just like, because she is from the perspective of from the rain, from the inside, she can't see the full effect and isn't confused by it. And she looks the other way, and she's trying to get her sister to talk about like parties and stuff, about Leo's party. But then her sister and one of her co-workers mentions to look at the rain. Martha, look at the rain. It's going up. And then suddenly a blast of lightning occurs as and seems to be some sort of earthquake. And when they look out the window, it's nighttime. But it was just day a moment ago. Oh no, it's not nighttime. They're on the moon. Yes, this story is mainly set on the moon. The imagery, the CGI work on this is stunning, and it leads to some great cinematography, great directing. As the Doctor looks out of the window, well, we see him wandering around. Martha clicks at something. It's like, hold on, how are we all breathing? These windows aren't exactly airtight. If we were going to suffocate, we would have done it by now. As the Doctor, in his new costume, swings the curtains over, and it's like, you're very good. Martha, what's your name again? Jones, isn't it? And they have this sort of like, this banter, and the Doctor basically asks her, do you want to step out into the balcony to discover why we're still breathing? And even though she's terrified, she can die, she still wants to do it because the scenery is just so goddamn beautiful. And that scene where they're on the balcony, it's just so well directed. I love everything about it. I love how we first see the camera's like outside the doors as the Doctor and Martha slowly walk to the doors, and when they open it, the camera slowly pans backwards, and then they're in timing with the doors. I love how when they're talking about mundane stuff, the camera's pointing, facing towards them, with the hospital in the background as if it's a normal thing. But when they're talking about the amazing, magnificent wonders of space, the camera then shoots them from the side, which doesn't sound that impressive when you mention it like that. But what you don't realise is you get an image of just pure space in this really stunning visual effect of space behind them as they're looking out on the surface of the Earth, and it's just, that's just great. And I love the dynamic, the relationship. The relationship between the Doctor and Martha here feels so real and so natural, and Freema really knows in terms of acting how to keep up with David Tennant, which is really hard because David Tennant, he's just stepped his bloody A-game. I don't know what it is, but suddenly that quirkiness about him, maybe the pop culture references, that's kind of gone to the side. We have a much more traditional Doctor in that sense, but David Tennant playing a traditional Doctor is just so much better. The way he just rambles on, the way he has these small little quirks about his performance, and just the emotions that get off in his face, it's just fantastic. It's here that we get to mention that Martha's cousin, her identical cousin, it doesn't mention that they were identical, it just mentions that it was her cousin, was at the Battle of Canary Wharf and died during the Battle of Canary Wharf with the Cybermen. As the Doctor then mentions, it's like, I was there at the heart of the battle. That's just stunning. And I also love how halfway through for the story, the Doctor's like, my name's not actually John Smith, it's the Doctor. Martha's like, no, in my eyes, you've got to earn that title. And the Doctor's like, okay, I better get started then, as he tinkers onto the shield, as he basically realizes, like, right, there's a force field, this is the only air we got. When that air runs out, everyone's going to suffocate, everyone is going to die. As Martha ponders, who's doing this? Why would anybody do this? As they hear noises from above them, and the Doctor's like, ask yourself. As these giant cylinder spaceships come down, and an army of bulky individuals covered in armour step out, heading towards the hospital, as the doctor announces, Jadoon. Go, Joe, go, Joe, go, Joe, go, Joe. Now, I love the Jadoon. They are just, in some ways, especially like in this story, they're just generic space cops, in a sense. You know, the rogue space cops, as the doctor says, they're basically space police for hire, essentially thugs. But there's just something, the way they speak, the fact that they are one of the few Doctor Who races with a Konglang, fictional language, which is very unique to them. And just their presence, that really bulky costume with the rhino heads, and that the animatronics on that is stunning. And just, I don't know, in a sense, like they're not really like the main. I mean, they are the main focus of the danger, but they're not the main villains. But you know, it's just I don't know. It's just something really striking about them. The Doctor states, it's like, right, they're looking for an alien fugitive, which is really bad for me, because if they find that there is somebody here who's not human, they will destroy the entire hospital. As the Doctor's got to keep out of danger, essentially. There's also a nice little nod to New Earth, in which the Doctor mentions that they have a nice little shop. He always loves a nice little shop in hospitals, which is a callback to that story. And then it's around here that when Martha witnesses the death of the boss of the hospital by the plasmavore, this old lady who has these two bodyguards called Slabs, in all leather costumes, and she kills people by drinking their blood through a store, and she assimilates their blood so that when the Jadoon scan her, she appears to be human, and that is just a nice little plot. I like the image of this old woman killing people with a straw is just so silly, and it is kind of ridiculous, but something about it, the editing, the actress who plays her, which is playing it way over the top, but it's an over the top in a good way, you know what I mean? It's like, she knows that you're not going to take the idea of this old woman drinking a straw, but she's having so much fun! It's so much fun. That's what you can tell the story. His story is just so goddamn fun. You know what? I might actually just leave it there. I won't tell you what happens at the ending. I don't tell you like what will happen. I'll just say it's a very good story. Yeah, that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the ending up to you to go and watch it. Highly recommended. Smith & Jones is a great way of kicking off a series. It's a great introduction to Martha. It's a great introduction to the Jadoon. It's a great introduction to the 10th Doctor. In fact, if you're wondering where to start off with the 10th Doctor, I would actually highly recommend you start with this story first. With Series 2, he's good. David Tennant just, nails it, especially in certain scenes. But I find that his relationship with Rose, with the whole you're perfect, no, you're perfect kind of thing, was a bit degrading for each character. And Rose really didn't come off as the perfect character as Russell T Davies intended. But Martha, she seems to earn that title. She seems to work things out, to solve problems by herself, and actually is a benefit to the Doctor without feeling like she's just some sort of psychic. Like near the end, where she works out what the Doctor's plan is, and uses it to defeat the Plasmavore. Again, I won't spoil it for you, but it's just really well, nicely paced. And the story, paced as well. The story is enormously, brilliantly pacing. The story, like, when you need character beats, it has character beats. When you need the action and the swashbuckling of the later David Tennant era, then you get that. It just has everything that you want. It's a huge blast, and just rewatching it was just so much of a joy. I'm so grateful, because I also want to mention that it was actually around this time that I was actually thinking of dropping the series. I wasn't too keen on series 2. At the time, when I was a kid, I hated The Runaway Bride. I didn't like Donna at the time, and you know, I just got kind of a bit of a tired of it. And then this came along, and I was like a kid on a sugar rush. This story was just so entertaining and just so you know, fun. It was just so fun. Yeah, I can't really describe. I'm just repeating myself. This video is probably being really boring because I'm just saying just how much I love it. Is there anything I don't like about it? There's a scene at the end where the Doctor offers Martha a chance to go on the TARDIS, but then the Doctor kind of remembers Rose at one point, and then all of a sudden he gets really aggressive to Martha. It's like, you're only getting one trip to say thank you, and that's it. You're not replacing her. I hate that. I hated that scene. I hated that moment. And that's something we've got to remember about Series 3. As much as I love it, we do have has an issue that is a plot thread that goes throughout the series that is something which I have a personal issue. And it's mainly to do with the 10th Doctor's characterization, which is really disappointing. But it's mainly just scenes here and there throughout each story. But for the most part, the Doctor and Martha's relationship are just superb. Absolutely superb. So there you go, that's Smith and Jones. So join me next time where we will find out how Gwen Cooper is doing on her first day at Torchwood, when she has to defend the Earth from a gas, a sentient gas, a symbiotic gas. A symbiotic gas that feeds off an energy source. What energy source? Sexual energy source. So join me next time for day 1, and I'll see you next time on the Doctor Who Marathon. Ta-ra!